The dogwood is in bloom, and the vivid color of the flowers contrasts strongly with the emerging green of the countryside. Dotting the rolling hills are many old homes, some built before the American Revolution. Each has its history. For instance, this one on the New Jersey side of the Delaware, built in the 1700s, the home of early American patriots, the Bray family. It was Daniel Bray who gathered all the boats along this side of the Delaware for the Army during American Crisis Number 1. Many of you have never heard of Daniel Bray, but those who lived in this area knew him and knew well what he and other patriotic Americans did during those critical times in 1776 when our nation was fighting for its freedom. I'd like to tell you about some of those moments of our country's history which Winston Churchill called the most critical of the war. I'm Chet Huntley, and this Bray house is now my home. I'm very proud of this place, not of the house for its own sake, but rather of its association with those events which played such an important role in our national heritage. Many of you have associations with our past through the areas in which you live, or through ancestry, or perhaps some family treasure, such as this book by John Adams, one of my forebears. Whatever the association, we can be proud of them, and they were willing to fight for it. This is the Delaware Valley as it looks today in a snowy December. Here is the same valley along the Delaware River where that small body of men and their commander, General George Washington, showed such great courage and determination during December 1776. Their effort and sacrifice marked our history and our heritage.
Oh, the heart is the heart of a home that it is. The heart is the heart of a home. No matter how far you may travel or where in the world you may be, your heart stays at home by the hearthside, and the glow of its embers you'll see. Oh, the heart is the heart of a home.
From a vantage point, Bowman's Hill, highest point on the Pennsylvania side of the Delaware, one may look across the river into New Jersey, as Washington's sentries did in 1776. The Bowman's Hill Wildflower Preserve, Penn's Woods, the graves of some of our first unknown soldiers, and the Thompson-Neely House, today known as the House of Decision. Its oldest section, built in 1702, is now an authentically furnished museum of national renown. The house brings to life the December days when important staff conferences were held here. 4 miles to the south is the spot where Washington and his small but gallant army of Continental soldiers made the crossing of the Delaware on Christmas night, 1776. From here was launched the attack on the Hessians in Trenton that turned the tide of the American Revolution. A statue of Washington, erected by the patriotic order Sons of America, also marks the historic site. Close by, a memorial flagstaff stands at the entrance to the area where the troops assembled before the crossing. Today, the point of embarkation is memorialized by a modified colonial building that has become a national shrine. In front of the building lies the reflection pool, ringed with the flags of the original 13 colonies and the Betsy Ross flag. To this memorial building in the park come people from all walks of life and from every state and many foreign countries. The most important visitors are the school children. They come to learn more about their inspiring national heritage and to understand better Washington, the man, who was in spirit and in fact the father of his country. His spirit of determination remains equally important today. Within the memorial building is the library of the American Revolution and a spacious 400-seat auditorium. On exhibit is the famous painting, Washington Crossing the Delaware, by Emanuel Leutze. Patriots of today understand the message of the patriots of yesterday, depicted in the 21 by 12-foot canvas. Christmas night, 1776. A night destined to become the most significant in America's history. The snow that began at 6 in the evening has changed to sleet. The wind has shifted to the northeast and lashes the faces of the men. They huddle in the boats, trying to hold on to their tricorns and headgear against the bitter wind. Every man knows it is past midnight, and that the crossing should have been made by this hour in order to complete the 9-mile march to Trenton and strike before dawn. Boats, all types, stretch as far as the eye can see. Field cannon had been loaded into the boats built for carrying iron ore downriver. Their narrow bows and sterns made loading extremely difficult. Frightened and bewildered horses were led aboard rafts amid snow and sleeting wind. Now it will be after 2 a.m. before the crossing can be completed. Long after daylight before the Americans can reach Trenton. Will it be too late to surprise the Hessians? Washington alone must decide. His unconquerable determination is the rock upon which the American cause for freedom is clinging this Christmas night, 1776. No one knows as well as he what hardships preceded this night. The long retreat through the Jerseys during the months prior to this crossing has meant untold suffering for the men. Many are ill. All are cold and hungry. By January 1st, only days away, most enlistments will be up. There will be but few recruits for a losing army. The nation's fight for independence had hardly begun. Just 4 months earlier, all efforts to keep the British from invading New York City failed. On August 27th, the disastrous Battle of Long Island had taken place. Only by skillful withdrawal could Washington keep his regiments from being wiped out by the British Army. Under cover of fog and darkness, a beaten Continental Army crossed the East River to Manhattan, turned north to Fort Washington, which fell by mid-November with its garrison of more than 2,000 men, now prisoners of war. Those who escaped surrender fell back, their ranks dwindling, supplies exhausted. A few days later, Cornwallis crossed the Hudson in pursuit of the Americans, climbed the Palisades, and almost succeeded in capturing Fort Lee. In 3 months, Washington had lost some 5,000 men and great quantities of supplies and equipment. Since the day America declared her freedom, the young nation had suffered only a series of defeats. The retreating remnants of the Continental Army straggle southward toward Brunswick. Only a delaying action is possible. Fighting for time. Desperately, the rear guard of the weary troops does everything humanly possible to block and delay the pursuing British. Felling trees, burning crude bridges. With the redcoats on their heels, the colonials push southward, continuing the retreat. By late November, the commander-in-chief reaches Brunswick. Here for a few days, he'll be given the opportunity to pause, to regroup, and to make future plans. Knowing his only hope is to place the natural barrier of the Delaware River between his rapidly diminishing army and the British, Washington sends a detachment of men to collect all boats and craft to be found along the Delaware. This advanced planning will enable him to transport his army across the river to safety, secure the boats on the west bank, and thereby prevent them from falling into the enemy's hands. For the moment at least, Washington and his small band of ragged, untrained soldiers are safe from pursuit on the western bank of the Delaware. Those remaining with their commander-in-chief prepare to march northward along the river. The men suffer intensely from the cold and bitter wind. Only a few have shoes, worn thin. Most wrap their feet in rags. These shivering men, some little more than boys, have a courage and tenacity not understood by the British. They have an ideal and a cause, both embodied in the banners they bear proudly. For the troops still with Washington, a bivouac area is chosen. Here, in the shadow of Bowman's Hill, along Pidcock Creek, the Continental Army makes camp. There are no tents. Some men try to burrow into bushes under rocks.
No matter how far you may travel, or where in the world you may be, your heart stays at home by the hearthside, and the glow of its embers.
Few have coats to wear against the wind and cold. Others wrap themselves in old blankets.
Is the heart of a home that is built. The heart is the heart of a home.
There is little food. The hungry, freezing soldiers exist on meager rations, trapping wild game in the area, or even eating the raw flour from the Thompson-Neely mill near their camp. A short distance away stands the Thompson-Neely house. In its adjacent outbuilding, some of the troops will be able to find shelter. The house itself will serve as river headquarters because of its proximity to the high ground of Bowman's Hill. Inside, Mrs. Neely and her children must prepare to move out and spend the next few weeks in a neighbor's house nearby. All is in readiness for the arrival of the expected American officers. To General Lord Sterling, Washington has assigned the difficult task of defending the river front. Because of his familiarity with the valley as Surveyor General for the colony of New Jersey, he recognizes the advantage of the hill nearby. Sentries will be posted to observe any activity on the Jersey side of the Delaware and any signs that the enemy may be making an attempt to cross and attack the American camp. As the family prepares to turn their home over to the officers of the Continental Army, Sterling expresses words of gratitude. To this same house of decision will come Captain James Moore and Captain William Washington, to be quartered with an even younger officer, Sirius Lieutenant James Monroe, age 18, later to be President of the United States. It is now the 10th of December, 15 days until Christmas. Meanwhile, across the river, Lord Cornwallis, the British commander, confers with Hessian Colonel Jacob Rawle and Major von Lossberg. The Hessians are confident that they will be able to contain what is left of the Americans, since they have reliable reports on the number unfit for duty. Already the rigors of the bitter winter are taking their toll, and the Thompson-Neely House must serve as hospital as well as headquarters. Each day, more men are coming down with camp fever or pneumonia. The very ill are brought to the West Wing, which at least offers rest and a little warmth. Medical supplies are pitifully low. Doctors are few. Several men will never leave this room alive. It is now mid-December.
Colonel, inform the staff that I'm moving my headquarters up the river to the area near Bowman's Hill.
Very good, sir.
The next few days will be critical ones. In the Bowman's Hill bivouac areas, there is continued suffering. More snow has fallen. Temperatures have dropped. Soon the river may freeze, enabling the Hessians to march across and attack. Washington arrives at the Thompson-Neely House to confer with selected members of his staff. American crisis number 1 is upon him. The tension in the American camp contrasts sharply with Rawle's headquarters in Trenton.
Thank you, Colonel Rawle. It was charming.
Danke, my dear. And do not worry about the rabble across the river. They cannot reach us here.
Entertained by Tory aristocracy, the well-to-do of Trenton, the British, represented by Hessian officers, relax. But for the Americans, time is running out. The summer soldiers are deserting. More and more men are unfit for duty. Tom Paine's pamphlet, The American Crisis, is ordered read. These are the times that try men's souls. It is Monday morning, the 23rd of December. Washington's trusted agents, including John Honeyman, operating behind British lines, have reported on the Hessian deployment around Trenton. In the Thompson-Neely House, General Washington faces many discouraging facts. General Lord Sterling, General Greene, and Lieutenant James Monroe fully understand the crisis. But General Gates is openly critical of the situation.
Dwindling money, dwindling supplies, dwindling troops. Well, I have no more than 600 rank and file fit for service.
Any short-term enlistments are up by January 1st.
General Greene reports that it's well-nigh impossible to obtain supplies. The people refusing to supply the army.
Can we judge them too harshly, General? What have we to show for our 6 months of service as a nation? Only defeats. Long Island, Fort Washington, Fort Lee, and now the humiliating retreat across the Delaware to this frozen encampment.
What other choice was there, General?
Gates is right. That is our record. And Franklin in Paris, no matter how persuasive, he cannot obtain help for a losing cause.
As you know, General, the sentiment against reenlistment is stronger than ever. Not enough to fill one of Dan Bray's canoes.
By New Year's Day, we may expect to be without enough. Gentlemen, if I may review the position, the continuing cold weather is the greatest hardship for our men. And my efforts so far have been ill to bring us any kind of supply or equipment for our men, except for a few old clothes that have been sent to us by the Safety Council from Philadelphia.
By January 1st, this may be of no concern to us, since we are not then likely to have an army to equip.
Too many of our fair-weathered friends are going over to the other side and accepting pardons. This lack of patriotism is the most serious problem that we face. And I find it understandable, considering the lack of victory that we've had for the last 6 months.
Then, sir, what are we to do?
Obviously, there's only one thing left. Attack! We must cross the Delaware. Gentlemen, I assure you, I am in full possession of my facts. I only ask that you keep to yourselves what I have said.
Regardless of uncertainty, the order will go out for the men to prepare and carry 3 days of rations. Christmas Day, 1776. Where to find needed help for this momentous undertaking? Washington turns, as always, to Providence for divine guidance. At 4:30 in the afternoon, it is bitterly cold. The troops fall out for a final muster. 2,388 men stand shivering as they await orders from their officers. The wind is raw and cuts through their ragged clothing. Washington's principal commanders, already assembled, are called forward in front of the troops. Washington gives his final decision: to take the offensive on Christmas night, regardless of the weather, to cross the Delaware under cover of darkness, to attack the Hessians at dawn in Trenton. It is an agonizing moment. Some commanders had thought the weather would make this desperate maneuver impossible. At least one, Washington's trusted friend Sterling, shows approval as well as determination. Now Washington's staff must pass on the final orders to the waiting men. The psychological shock will not be fully realized until the crossing is underway. As darkness falls, instead of returning to quarters, the men march downriver to the point of embarkation. A terrible night for those who have no shoes. The wind is northeast, raw. A snowstorm is setting in. In Trenton, Colonel Rawl ignores word of a possible attack. Nothing will disturb his Christmas festivities. On the Pennsylvania side at McConkey's Ferry, Washington waits at the inn, where he continues to receive discouraging reports. By 6 p.m., he learns that downriver plans are going awry.
This word I await eagerly. The crossing at Bristol and the scheduled diversion in New Jersey is not possible to make. Though you ain't...
The campaign slogan takes on a new significance: victory or death. But where can victory be found in such a night? As the regiment of Marblehead fishermen under Colonel, later General John Glover, pull the boats through the treacherous ice floes of the Delaware, the troops move into position to embark. The American cause for freedom, still so young and fragile, is dying. Only a victory can revive it, and it must come now. This is more than the crossing of a river. It is a crossing from defeat and despair to hope and victory. The ringing words of the soldier-writer Tom Paine warm the hearts of the freezing men. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and the sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. No summer soldiers these. What the Patriots achieved in their decisive victory at Trenton following the crossing inspired them to continue the cause for freedom through the dark days at Valley Forge to final victory at Yorktown. Today, this same loyalty and love of country is needed as much, perhaps more, than on that Christmas night in 1776.